Hello, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Annie Kalatkar, and I started this COVID-19 coronavirus healing circle for you to support yourself and to hold space from inside peace rather than fear for you, your family, your friends, your local community, and ultimately all of humanity. What most people don't realize is that they have fear of the unknown. How many of you are fearing what's going to happen to your job? What's going to happen if there's food scarcity? What's going to happen if you can't go back to work? If you can't get your kids back in school? There are so many questions that are rooted in fear of the unknown. And today we are going to begin the process of recognizing that we have fear of the unknown and see it for what it is, a consciousness challenge that is based in paranoia, not pronoia, which is coming from a love-based position where you know, true knowing, because you're connected to your inner guidance that connects you to all that is, your source, and your true divine nature, which is love. And that is my goal for today. So as part of this healing circle, I'm going to give you some foundational pieces to consider. So let's get started. Fear of the unknown. We all have seen what's been going on with the whole toilet paper and food hoarding. In fact, there's quite a few pieces of humor floating around the internet just revealing how silly and funny this has become for many people, but also it has an aspect of tragedy to it. When we organically release fear of the unknown, this means that we are beginning to actively choose, that's called conscious choice, to let that go and embody the awareness of having trust and faith in the absence of proof. And what this means is that we are the proof that we are choosing to create. Now, there's this very interesting word in this meme that I made here called ineffably. Effable means it's tangible, we can put words to it, we can describe it. Ineffable is, it is beyond description. It is beyond words. We just have this sense of what it is, and we know what we know what we know. And this is what I want you to connect with over the next few minutes that we have this precious time together. So when we release hoarding consciousness, then we are beginning to let go of that fearful state that's derived from lack consciousness, which is, take a look, it's a belief in scarcity. I don't have enough. And we're talking about time and money, energy, food or toilet paper, resources. And this gets experienced in terms of physical lack, emotional lack, mental lack, and spiritual lack, which is truly defined as having peace. You either have peace or you don't have peace. You're either in pronoia and the universe and everything is conspiring to support you, or you're in fear and paranoia and everything is disintegrating. Your energy levels are going down physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So lack consciousness says, when I believe I can't have what I need because I'm not good enough or have enough energy, time, money, or resources, I remain depleted or empty. And the way we change this is to say from inside our hearts and our minds, I consciously release my judgment, my fear. The judgment is a fear of not having enough, or being separate from what I believe I could have in my life. I open, this is a command for your brain and your consciousness to begin opening to notice that I can choose an environment that supports me knowing I am enough. So what does it mean to choose an environment? Well, we have our physical environment, right? We could choose how we support ourselves. We have our emotional environment, and we have our mental environment and all the thoughts that we experience and feed to ourselves. And we have our spiritual environment, whether it's in a state of discord and we're feeding the discord like coal to an engine. We want to be aware of the environment and how we're feeding it. Inner scarcity. Now, this is what is happening inside of us in our mental energetic body. We may have all these beliefs and ideas that we might fall apart at any time. And this is inner stress. And a lot of times people are not really aware of how much inner dialogue they participate in. And this is an inner monologue. Now, you either have an inner monologue of peace, where your inner voice is sharing with you, I am loved, I am centered and loved, I can connect to my inner guidance and navigate, find my way through the apparent discord around me. Or we could have the opposite. And the opposite is where we create heaps of mental stress that we oftentimes do not know how to navigate or stop. I mean, consider at night when you lie down, are your thoughts still churning around and around over what's going to happen? Where am I going to be in the next 6 months, the next year? Is this going to be over? Are there going to be new challenges ahead? What about my children? What about my parents? Everyone has a hamster wheel in their brain. And you're either going around and around having this conversation that is robbing you of energy, depleting you, lowering your immune system, or you have a hamster wheel that's feeding you energy because you're connected to source, to your true divine nature. So if you look at this picture of this beautiful woman with this waterfall cascading from her mind through her body, it's so beautiful because it illustrates when we are connected to inner guidance. We are connected to this sense of knowing that we will be okay. And that is where your trust and faith is produced. Because fear of the unknown is not anchored, grounded, or centered in anything except fear, which can pull you off center, can create anxiety of enormous levels and proportions. But when we connect to our inner guidance and we listen to our inner truth, our inner voice sharing with us, all is okay. Then from there, we begin on a moment-to-moment basis, living our life from inside love, asking questions of our inner guidance. We find our way through the discord around us, and our light increases. And as our light increases, we become this pinpoint of light on the earth grid, holding space, not just for ourselves, but our family and our local community. And as all of those people join together, we begin forming this network of light around the earth, supporting each other from inside love, with trust and faith that we are going to make the transformations that we are being called to make right now. You see, fear of the unknown keeps us spinning in darkness, uncertainty, fear and anxiety. There's no solid land in there, which is why this is sending people into major panic attacks, huge deep depression. So I encourage you, say, hello, inner guidance. I want to open to connecting with you more and more. I want to deepen my trust and faith in my inner guidance. And I open to learning how I can recognize you, how I can perceive you with my eyes, my ears, my taste, my touch, my inner hearing, my deep well of wisdom. I want to connect to the information grid around me. And I want to know through inner knowing. When we stop and make conscious choice to stop looking outside of ourselves for someone to tell us it's all going to be okay, and we actually go inside and we make that connection with our inner guidance, we begin to bring peace into our experience. And we begin to trust our inner voice. And then we begin to know what's right for us, because no one else knows what's right for you. And you have to let go of self-doubt and connect with love inside your heart to who you are, to fill your cup up. So I'm going to read this meme. Organically, the release of fear of the unknown happens when we actively choose now and ongoingly, on an ongoing basis, to embody the awareness of having trust and faith in the absence of proof. Ineffably, we are the proof we choose to create. So what is fueling the fear? Everyone acknowledges we're in fear these days. Well, one of those things is blaming and wounding consciousness, but another is excuse consciousness. So when we fuel our inner scarcity with all of this, right? For example, it's everyone else's fault but mine. I know a lot of people, it's very evident it's the government's fault. And we have to stop excusing everyone around us as well. Because what this is doing is it's moving people into a belief that they're powerless. And that is another consciousness challenge that we have to release. Because this fuels victim and victim of circumstance and other consciousness challenges to the point that you can become paralyzed in paranoia. So excuse consciousness. Being whole and complete means you no longer need an excuse or reason for how you show up in life. And the way we release this consciousness challenge and heal it, we say from our heart and our mind, our unified self, I consciously release my judgment, which is a fear, that others will think less of me for not being prepared and ready to do what I said I would do. We all acknowledge that there are control systems in place in our society and globally. These control mechanisms facilitate fear, to use it to control the masses. And it comes through the news and the media primarily. When I mentioned that we look outside of ourselves for information, rather than going within and listening to our own higher guidance from our inner guidance, our true natured self, we lose the perspective that we are creating our experience, because then we believe others and life circumstances are creating our experiences. So again, from the perspective of others and life circumstances controlling me and my family and my friends and community, release that perspective and release the fear of the unknown with regards to others and life circumstances, and see how that experience changes for you. When we release fear of the unknown, we're really releasing the belief that doomsday is here, right? Because on some level, we have bought into that this pandemic of the coronavirus is so terrible that it's going to move like wildfire and wipe out most of the world, and that if we don't change everything, everything is going to get much worse, and the list and fears just pile on top of each other, and this creates more spiritual discord inside of us, and it makes it harder to get back to our peaceful center, which keeps us in that cycle of blaming, right? That others and life circumstances are doing this to me, but no one is doing this to you. See, you are the proof that you choose to create. So you can look out the window from where you live, and you can perhaps see that everyone is homebound right now. And you can wonder, do I want to live in fear? Fear that the borders might close, that food may not be able to come to me? Or do you want to have the inspiration come to you that perhaps now is the time to start a vegetable garden, or plant some fruit trees or herbs, so that in a couple months you can see that you are the proof that you live inside love and pronoia? Or you can be the proof in 3 months that there is no food. The choice is yours. So I support you consciously releasing this fear of the unknown, and make conscious choice to connect to your inner guidance, to ask the question, inspire me. What is it that I could do today to come from pronoia and embody trust and faith, and know that everywhere I go, every footstep I take is planted and centered in peace and assurity. That is trust and faith. And it begins with you. So I love this picture because this is the easy button. And we all want the easy button. We want to look for a shortcut. And a lot of times it's because we believe the work is just going to be overwhelming, or we don't have the time or energy or resources to do the work. And when I refer to the work, you could look at that as physical work, mental work, emotional work, or spiritual work. If you believe the work is too overwhelming to get to a peaceful center, and it's easier to stay in fear of the unknown, you are going to remain in powerless and victim of circumstance. And it'll be much harder to find your happiness again, because peace organically creates happiness. So if you're not willing to look at your unconscious fears, you won't be able to heal them. So wanting the easy button, I consciously release my judgment that I am powerless to perform the challenges ahead. This is super important because there are so many more challenges ahead of us. We are in the early days, and it doesn't matter where on your timeline you are listening to this video. We are globally transforming and shifting. Coronavirus may be the tip of the iceberg that signals to all of us we have to change our thinking. We have to change our thought responses, our emotional beliefs, and how we express our beliefs through our emotions, and what we believe spiritually. We're all being called to look at everything. So I release the belief that I don't have the time and energy or resources to accomplish the work. We all do. We are not powerless. We are the source of our energy, because our true divine nature is love. And love is what transforms and heals us. Our fearful thoughts, they destroy us. And there's enough people talking about that right now. So I'm not going to go into that, but it is true. So victim of circumstance is a very fascinating situation to find oneself in, because I would guarantee that at least 95% of the world is crying out that they are a victim of life circumstances. What happens when we're a victim of circumstance? The first thing most people do is they go into a pity party. Self-pity is an agreement that I am a victim. And then, because there's this twisted aspect to our ego inside of our survival brain, we want validation that we have been hurt or harmed by someone else. So we go into recruiting others to our pity party to get validation that we are in fact powerless. And this is a negative feedback loop that is, again, you have to be willing to look at it to change it. But staying a victim of circumstance will keep you stuck forever. Acknowledge you might have some victim of circumstance. Go ahead. I consciously release victim of circumstance and all the ways that I have gone into a pity party that my life has been impacted negatively. I release all the ways in which I recruited others to validate that I have been victimized by the world. I now choose to believe that I am connected to my inner guidance and that I am powerful, more powerful than I ever realized. And that from inside a place of love, I can choose to fill my own cup with self-love. And then I can meet others in service to us. And with my cup full and their cup full, we can come together to do something good for family, friends, community, all of humanity in service to us. And it's good for me, and it's good for you, and it's good for everyone because everyone is included. And when we do this, we are unifying ourselves from inside love with everyone. And the fear begins to drop and leave our very society. So going forward, we have so much to look forward to. We have new potentials. We have new opportunities and fresh perspectives that we can gain from these amazing, deep, transformative days that we are living right here on planet Earth. In the beginning, it was hard for me. I admit it. I went into compromised consciousness and settling consciousness. And then I had to wake myself up out of that because that's another form of victim of circumstance. But I was doing a very sophisticated job of hiding it from myself. And I let go of the resistance because I knew here's opportunity in all of this entropy that's going on. And if there's one thing I have learned in life, it's that in the midst of chaos, order is already beginning to form. So open to whatever is on your timeline, your journey. You are so amazing. This being of light that you are, you can connect with your inner guidance and choose, make conscious choice to how you would like to do life better by releasing fear of the unknown and moving into deeper states of awareness as you embody trust and faith so that you can move forward confidently in the direction of your dreams. So I want you to remember that pronoia is an empowerment that you can embody. That's right. It's like putting a CD into a big boombox. And pronoia is a song that you are emanating, okay, outward to the whole world. It's an energy. And when you truly embody it and you're just embracing this concept, you feel more centered, more peaceful, more loving. the world responds differently. And it supports you in the release of the unknown so that you don't need the proof to know that you're going to survive. Because you're no longer in survival mode, you're in thrival mode. And if there's one thing this coronavirus does not like, is thrival from inside pronoia. Because this virus is actively looking for host bodies that are questioning their own survival. Move out of that to deepen your immunity and speed your healing. Move into thrival states and embody pronoia, that your every need will be met before you even perceive that you have a need. Because inside love and pronoia, the word need does not even exist. Breathe out paranoia. Breathe in pronoia. And notice the good feelings that move through you as you center yourself inside pronoia. So when you notice fear-based thoughts, say, ah, look at me. I was having a fear-based thought. I let that go. And I choose pronoia and breathe in pronoia and make yourself think of some positive thing that you can be grateful for. Because if you move into gratitude, you will change your consciousness because you will improve your brain chemistry. Scientifically proven. You will balance your serotonin, you'll start to feel better, and it'll be easier to move more into a state of pronoia. Now, this is the first of 7 in a series of Healing Circle for coronavirus. I hope you will join me for the second installment. And for those of you watching by video, thank you so much for joining me. It really is a pleasure to support you, supporting yourself and your family by raising your frequency above ineffable so that you just are in that state of knowing as we all collectively hold light for the transformation of everyone on this planet, because it begins with you, and you are amazing. Who you are matters, and who you are makes a difference. Join me again. Thank you so much.